All right, so a lot of people are talking about this Sony FX2. I guess my focus here has just been more on the body type differences. Basically, once you get it in your hand, what are the first things that you notice about the camera that's a little bit different than the FX3 or FX30? And most of the opinions are pretty positive, and I think so too, at first glance anyway. My concern is I just recently bought an FX30, and I have my reasons for doing that. Of course, the FX3 was quite a bit more expensive, and I actually have invested in a lot of crop sensor lenses, so it didn't make sense for me to just stretch my budget a little bit and go to the FX3. The FX30 was my choice. Now, I immediately started getting nervous when I heard about the FX2 coming. I know it had been in talks for a long time, but I guess maybe I wasn't paying attention. I didn't realize it was coming out this quickly. Even still, do I regret buying the FX30 and not holding out and waiting for what ended up being the FX2? Because we didn't know for sure what it was going to be and whether it was worth it. So now that we know, now that it's been released, is it compelling enough of a proposition that I should have probably bought the FX2? They did say that they modified the body a little bit as well to not be exactly like the FX30 or FX3, which are virtually identical. So let's have a look at what the differences are on that. So I'll bring it up on the screen here. The front of the camera is virtually identical. We have that record button right at the front. We have the little button to release your lens. Everything else is the same on the very front of it. So what about the back? On the back, it looks like on the FX2, you can see that now it has a little toggle switch between movie and still. The power button is the same. So one of the things is they're saying because this is a hybrid camera, they're borrowing a lot of the ideas or the actual hardware even from the A7 IV. They could have went with a switch like they have on that camera, but we have the same switches we have on the other cinema line, the FX3 and FX30. The dial on the back is the same. The mode button, of course, we don't have a mode button. I guess because we have the movie and still mode there, but I guess there's still mode options. So they've, I guess, dual purposed the function button to be a mode button as well. And then you have the home button in addition to that. Apparently, according to Gerald Undone, I watched his video on the release of this morning, and it looks like it has no effect when you're in the stills mode, but it'll bring up a menu for you when you're in movie mode. So that's great for when you're doing video, but as he said, it looks like it's a missed opportunity there. And, it's there. I think Sony could easily do a firmware upgrade. So now on the top of the camera, it looks like we have, well, I guess we have exactly all the same buttons, but what we are missing is one of the 1/4-20 threaded points right here. We're missing that piece. I'm sure that's not a problem, especially if you're going to throw a cage on there. You're going to have all the mounting points you need. The fact that this camera has any mounting points is a great addition to the A7 IV, which wouldn't have any of that. So again, if you're coming from an A7 IV, I think that this is kind of a no-brainer because you're getting pretty much all the advantages of that with a mechanical shutter for all your stills, a 33 megapixel camera, so you're not losing really anything. And this new, which we can see from the top view here, the new EVF is amazing. The fact that it tilts up almost like an old camcorder style, I really like that. It could get in the way in certain scenarios when you're shooting. It would be really interesting if you were able to detach it. The bottom of the camera, oddly enough, there is a difference there. It has 2 1/4-20 threads on the bottom, I guess, for how you want to mount it. The interesting thing is I actually, on my tripod here, I'm using the FX30 right now to record this. So on my tripod, just the main plate that comes with it, it actually mounts in a weird position. So when you slide it on the quick release, the knob that tightens it actually kind of gets in the way. I can kind of make it work. I have to get it turned where it's almost closed, but enough that I can kind of push it through with a little resistance. And then when I do that, then I have enough room to turn it and tighten it. Otherwise, if I left it completely open and I slid it in the quick release and then I went to tighten it, it would hit the bottom of the camera body. So it's a little bit, I'm probably not explaining that well, but anyway, trust me, it gets in the way a little bit. If I could mount it at a slightly different point on the bottom of the camera, that would be great. Clearly, I could use a different quick release plate or an additional plate that goes on top of that, and it would just raise it up a little bit. Or with the cage, it's not a problem either. Now, one thing that I'm not a huge fan of, it's not a huge deal. In fact, I can see the benefits on both sides of it. But your microphone input jack and your headphone jack are now just kind of exposed to the elements because they're sitting on the outside. Before they were closed behind a door, which I liked better on the FX30 and FX3. But now they've put it on the outside, I guess just kind of making more room for everything. It does have the full HDMI port, and the multi-cable input is the same, and a USB-C charging connection there is the same. Both the HDMI and those two other ports are hidden behind a door, which is nice. The other thing about that side of the camera that I noticed is that the strap loop is sticking out from the side of the camera versus being kind of inset on the FX30 and FX3. If we open up the door on the right side where the hand grip is, which is where your memory cards go, there is a little bit of a difference there too, because it has one dual slot, which takes the CF Express Type A, same as the FX30 and FX3, and the other one is just SD, which for a lot of people, that's going to be no problem because you might just want to record proxies to the second one, which is an option in the software. If you're trying to record the max setting, which would be, let's say, your 4K all intra, then you might have an issue depending on your SD card. I'm going to look into it a little bit more, but this was just my first impressions, and I just wanted to get a video out. I guess my focus here has just been more on the body type differences. Basically, once you get it in your hand, what are the first things that you notice about the camera that's a little bit different than the FX3 or FX30? And yeah, let's see how this pans out. Let's see the kind of footage people are getting from it. Let's see how everybody ends up using this camera and what it kind of inspires for the creativity, which is kind of the main point, right? So that's all I have for now. And if you want to hit that like button for me, I will post other videos on this subject. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.